Welcome to the Friday Matinee here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I am T.
I'm George.
Yes, you are George. Hi, George.
Yes, I'm good.
Happy Friday.
See, once again, we got this. There we go. I can hear myself.
Yes.
I don't know what they do in the rest of these.
Right? You come in and the knobs are all somewhere else.
So, yeah, it's great. I see we have a little mascot here in the name of Fozzie.
Yes, Fozzie, the little mascot, the little
already knows his
papillon.
name.
Yes, he does.
He's a good guy. So this was something just you decided you needed.
We went in for a tablecloth. And came back.
And they had puppies.
And there was a dog. No, my husband and I were out running errands, and we happened to be in a shopping center where there's a pet store, and there was a guy outside with dogs, and we're thinking about getting a dog. We've talked about getting a dog, and then before we headed back home, my husband was kind of pushing me, like leaning on me toward the store, and I go, "Do you want to go back in and look?" He goes, "Yeah, sure, let's go do that."
Do you want the dog? So yes, T has a new dog.
He looks like a little fox, a tiny little fox.
He's just and he's absolutely adorable. We'll have pictures up later. His name is Fozzie.
Fozzie.
How Fozzie Wazzie.
And speaking of tiny, I have a tiny person to my left. You are very small, Wendy Aguilar. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for that. Hello, everyone. I am Wendy Aguilar, and I'm very happy to join you guys today.
Very happy to have you on the entertainment aspect of KHTS, partly because you're doing some things that involve visual for radio.
Which is wacky.
Which is wacky, right?
and a little
but
bit,
it's the future, George.
Yes, that's true. So we
it's
have
the
to
future.
Do this.
Well, Wendy, wacky.
That's it.
They're all W's, so it's perfect.
We're talking about, of
wonderful
course,
too.
Eye on Santa Clarita. And so this is where you're actually going and doing profiles of local businesses. And I saw now the one you did, Miss Soul up the street.
Miss Soul, she's just down the street, and it's a clothing store. But she also has a great story to tell. And so we put both of those together, and then she talks about fashion and, how to get ready for the fall. I mean, a lot has changed. Not so much with the weather, but the look has to change a little bit.
We can have autumn in our heart, Wendy.
Yes.
And on our shoes and on our bag.
Of course.
That's the only reason why we have pumpkin spice anything this time of year in California, is to remind us that it's autumn.
Somewhere in the world.
But this is really good because, and as T is right, we are mostly audio here. I mean, we do video interviews, but they're in studio here, which is nice. But to actually go out and it's produced like a little news segment, which is really good. And of course, you have a news background.
Yes, I do have a news background, and that's where that all comes from. I did get my journalism degree from Cal State Northridge, and then I went off and I was reporter for 2 CBS affiliates, one in McAllen, Texas, and then the other one in Yuma, Arizona.
Wow.
So I've done news for quite a while, hard news too. But I do love the feature stuff, those heartwarming stories, so it's nice to be able to tell those.
Well, the news aspect is rather fascinating as well, because it's not always so easy to get into that and get in front of the camera. I mean, there's everybody wants to do it, and then you realize that, okay, we have plenty of intern jobs, or you can write this copy, or we need it in 5 seconds. Can you do that? That sort of pressure from behind the scenes, but to be in front of the camera. So tell me, now also we need to go back a little ways, because prior to graduating college, you were actually an intern at KHTS.
That is correct. So I've come full circle. I started as an intern here, and I used to write stories, and I used to do around town, and I did photos of different events, and I fell in love with it. And I was in college, and I was still at COC actually at that time. So it's been a while, and then from that it just grew, and then one day I realized that I wanted to be in front of the cameras, but it was all in the background. I just never admitted it to myself, but the second I admitted it and I started working towards that, then everything just started to happen. It's like one day I decided that I was going to be a reporter and that I was going to be in front of a camera, and somehow I was going to make that happen, and I made it happen. So.
And it doesn't hurt that you're gorgeous, so the camera likes you, so I'm glad that you love the camera and the camera loves you. So that was a good relationship you had going there. So when you are doing what you do now, do you find yourself still writing the stories in your head? Do you find you come at the in front of the camera still with much of the back of the camera type sensibility, or have you switched gears a little? How does that feel for you?
I love every aspect of producing a news story, but definitely I think my favorite is putting the story together. It's like a puzzle for me, putting all the pieces together. And when you see the video, and when you put video over words and you match those words to the video, that's my favorite part.
It's like a living dollhouse.
Yes.
For me, it's what it is you get the characters and you get the backgrounds and you put everything together, and then it's, oh, look what I created.
Yeah,
and
a lot of people don't realize, if they're not in production, that it's not a linear thing that starts from beginning to end. Like watching your segment, I know what you did to make that happen.
Exactly.
And that's the same thing with like sound production or any other type of production. There are the pieces that you put in. I find that always fascinating too. And ever since I first learned how to do that in college, way back when.
I produced all of that for that last episode. I shot the video, I edited, and I cut it.
Did you have a camera person, or did you just put it on?
No, I did it by myself. Yes, it's one of those things where you flip the viewfinder, and then you see yourself, and you're like, okay, and then
you frame yourself.
The difficult part is trying to get the. You help me with this. You're a photographer. Focus.
Right.
Yes.
I was about to say that.
Yes.
Well, that's
focusing on me is the difficult part, because I have to stand in front of the camera and then
and then operate the controls.
It's just a one-person band.
Come back around. Well, we did that. T and I shot a little thing for an acting competition we did last year, and that was in a park. And it's like, okay, are we in the shot? Okay, good.
Yes, a little more this way.
And then you try not to
way.
look while you're doing this stuff. So I know how that goes. But you did all that, and I could also you interviewed, and I could tell how you put it together. So you did all that on your own.
Yes.
No, you're not even help from Magical Menji or anything like that.
Wow.
Not on this one. Not on this one.
It was
but
good.
he put it together as far as uploading it and getting it through the system.
You got it in place. I mean, outstanding. So this is going to be a regular segment, Eye on Santa Clarita.
Yes.
Which is really great. So if you're a business out there, first of all, is it eyeonsantaclarita.com?
Eyeonsantaclarita.com. That's
you've already got
find
stuff
it.
up
Go
there?
there now. Check out some of those videos. And I already have 4 videos that are coming up.
Outstanding.
I will be working on those in the next few weeks. So I'm very excited.
And we
about
have
that.
so many wonderful businesses. I have to say, in 20 plus years in the Valley, I am continually amazed at some of the just the flavor of some of our businesses, the mom and pops.
That's the beauty of this, that we have a lot of those little businesses. And a lot of the times you don't know. And for example, like I was telling George, when I moved back to Santa Clarita, there was many things that I'd never seen before. And I'm walking by and I'm like, what is this? What's going on? I walk in there, I'm like, oh my God, people need to know about this.
Exactly. So thank goodness for Eye on Santa Clarita, there will be an opportunity for people to actually sort of taste test something before they head out on their own.
They're short and sweet to the point, a few minutes long, but still knocking you out. It's like a little news, like a little local entertainment news segment.
I won't take too much of your time.
Style segment.
Right. You're not going to take too much of their time, but you're going to make them look good and basically serve them up on the best cracker ever for people to take a little taste.
So if you're a business owner, go check it out and then give me a call.
Exactly.
I want to talk, Wendy, a little bit about the journalism thing, because when you talked about having the dream to get in front of the camera, in case anybody is listening who is in that mode, that's something I would love to do. I have no idea how to go. So you started toward a journalism degree, and you said it suddenly came to light that you wanted to be in the front of the camera. What were you thinking of doing first?
And was that your goal when you first started school?
When I first started school, right out of high school, I started in business, and I was working at an office as a receptionist. And so my goal was I wanted to do business. Somehow I'm going to do business. Well, what ended up happening was that I started to concentrate more on the business, and then I moved up the ladder. I became the office manager and everything. I was still doing school, but it was on the side, and it was business. Then when the market crashed and everything happened, I was just left me a sour taste, and I said, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to be a broke reporter for now, and I'm going to focus on something that I love. And so I started digging into my head, and then I asked my mom, do you know what I want to do? And she's like, I don't know. But then eventually I figured it out, and I was like, I've always liked cameras. I've always walked around with a comb or, a brush.
Interviewing people?
Yes, I've always done that.
Tell us about Mom's Thanksgiving turkey this year.
Wendy
What's the recipe? What's the secret ingredient? Things like that. So then I decided that it was time for me to admit it and say it. Hey, I want to be a reporter. And before that, it was kind of like, oh, you just want to be on TV, don't you? So once I admitted that, and once I left all that behind, I told Mom, I'm like, Mom, I want to be a reporter. I want to be on camera. I want to be on TV. And she's like, oh, yeah, I already knew that.
What's nice about that, Wendy,
that?
is by doing the other things that you've done, you also know the grunt work that goes into what you're doing, and you're not afraid of
background.
it. You know, you're not the girl who came into this saying, I want to be the diva, I want to be in front of the camera. I know what work this takes to be here. I know what, you know, and I think that's admirable because, again, it doesn't hurt that you're beautiful. It's wonderful that you like being in front of the camera, but your work ethic, I think, is off the charts. I've seen you. Be in the trenches, do what you do, be at the computer, concentrate on all your segments. You really love what you're doing on top of it. It's not just, hey, point the camera and I'm fabulous, let's go.
I do. And a lot of the times I have videos that I've done in the past with news stories, and I won't even put myself in front of the camera because I think the story itself is too powerful for me to get in front of the camera.
It calls for something else.
And take away from that powerful story. So.
Right.
So once you determined that, how did you go from changing your major or whatever to actually getting a job in news? Or was there a step, or was it just by happenstance, or what happened?
Of course, you know, I was at COC, so then I started to take more classes towards media, journalism, and all that stuff. Then I transferred over to CSUN, and that's where it became easier because they already have a roadmap. And they have a great journalism program, if I may say that. You know, it's a roadmap, and then they start teaching you all that. And then if you do want to be on camera, then what you do is you get into these classes where you get to practice, and you actually get to be a reporter, and you produce stories, and you actually get to anchor, edit, all kinds of stuff. And from that, you put a tape together, and it's your reel, it's your demo, and that's how you start applying. Then once you're done with school, or even when you're in school, you can start applying, because it does take a long time to get a job. You have to send it to so many places, and you know, somebody's going to like you, somebody's going to say, hey, no,
and
next
that's
one.
the thing too, is they are incredibly honest and blunt about your presentation.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I think your business background helped you maybe with some of that it's straight up rejection when someone says no. It's like, what do you mean no? And it's just business for you. Let's move on, let's try someone else.
Exactly.
Somewhere I'll be the fit, and I think that was
and you know what, I was older than my class, so for me at that time, sometimes I worried that because I was older, I might not get that job that the early 20s would get, but it actually worked with me to have that background, to have that business background, and to have that attitude about, hey, this is a business, and either some news director is going to like me and others are not going to like me. And I was very lucky that 2 weeks after I finished college, I got 3 offers.
Wow.
Nice.
So that was wonderful.
That
was
nice.
Wonderful. And I got the opportunity to choose where to go.
Well, that's good. So
here you are with us.
What were your choices? And you ended up in McAllen, Texas.
First one was Yuma, Arizona.
Arizona.
And so my options were Eugene, Oregon, and Montana, 100 miles from Canada. I can't remember the city right now.
Yeah. That just sounds dangerous.
Great Falls.
I thought Montana was in Canada.
Great Falls, Montana.
Great Falls,
and then
Montana.
the other one was Yuma, Arizona. So because it was so close to home compared to the other two, I picked that one.
Go with Arizona.
Plus it was just easy for me to drive home on the weekend if I had a bad weekend. So that's why I picked that one. And the quality of news that you get with a border town is incredible. I got the opportunity to cover a lot of hard news, immigration, agriculture, and it opened my eyes to a lot of possibilities.
Okay.
Now, Mom was supportive when you went to Mom and you said, "Hey, what do I want to do?" So I don't know, and then supported you through this. How was that for her and for your family to be this beautiful young girl off in this, as you describe, a border town where the news is going to be hard and possibly, traumatic, and the idea you could come home for comfort was, I think that's a big deal. But how was your family with that?
Oh, it wasn't easy for them.
Oh.
It was probably the hardest thing for them and for myself as well. And I am, with Latino communities, a lot of the times, especially the female, she doesn't leave home unless she gets married, and that's usually when she leaves home. So for them,
are you an only child?
No,
you have
I'm
siblings.
The only girl.
Yes.
So the only girl. For them, it was almost the end of the world. That's what I
chose to do.
Yes, exactly. But they were very supportive, and of course, it was very hard on them. We talked all the time. We did a lot of Skype and FaceTime and all that stuff, but it was still very hard. Every time I would come home, sometimes I would avoid it because leaving was so hard, because it was kind of like leaving like the first time and saying goodbye. Mom would always give me a huge hug.
In light of the tragedy with the on-camera personality and the cameraman recently, how does that affect you in your heart and your decision to do what you do? Because everyone who's been involved with journalism has talked about that story, and Charlie Hesbo and all the things where you're just the face to something that is being put out into the world. How does that touch you in moving forward?
You know what? It was very sad when I first heard about it on, I think it was social media and then on the news. It's a difficult situation, not only for that TV station, but also for journalists across the country.
Everywhere.
We've all been there. And I was actually a morning reporter in McAllen, Texas. So I know exactly, the way that reporter was standing, facing the other way. She never saw that coming. And the other thing is, when you're in front of the cameras and you have that live shot, you're not paying attention to anything else.
Nope.
You're focused.
You're in the groove.
Not to let anything distract you. So you're in that zone, and it's so sad, and it still gives me chills, and my heart goes out too.
But your love of what you do, you move forward, you move on,
you move forward because we love this, and it's about telling those stories.
It's telling the stories and sharing what we know with someone else. I can think George will say that too. Like when you're covering the fires, you find that, when we had one of our last fires that wasn't that far away, you sit in the seat, you tell the story, you give that information because that's what you do. And
exactly.
It's not always the easy thing, but you still love it.
Exactly.
So what brought you back to Santa Clarita?
I miss home. That's one. It was very hard for me being so far away from home and not being able to drive home. That was difficult for me. Of course, the humidity, my hair. My hair, and that's one more reason you are my friend. Good time over there.
You are still my friend. your chapstick on the table and the idea that your hair brought you home. I like you.
And they have insects over there that make vampires to shame.
And they're the size of Buicks.
Yes.
And I mean, who wouldn't want to come back to California weather?
Of course.
And Santa Clarita is an amazing town, and we're growing and we're evolving and things are changing, and it's an incredible place to be.
Oh, beautiful.
Well, very exciting. So ionsantaclarita.com.
That's
so
it.
you're back.
Go there
and also, Wendy is also part of our marketing and promotion team, aside from doing Eye on Santa Clarita. So that's really cool. And you've been here for a couple months now, right?
I want to say a couple months. Time flies when you're having fun.
Now I'm trying to
keep up anymore.
It feels
I'd be able to triangulate this. Were you here prior to our moving here?
No.
Okay.
No.
I didn't think so. Oh, that's right. That's right.
You came with the move.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything blurred.
It all rolls together, doesn't it, George?
Okay, that must have been somebody else then. So, but that's really great. We're glad to have you here, and you're always so bubbly and excited in the morning. And also, I see I see Rial has got you up in the morning.
Another one. Rial's he's getting us little by little.
We're all getting a
George,
shake.
it's our turn soon.
Join me.
No.
4 in the morning.
Oh, no. Well, I'd love to, but
George is already, I was going to say, George is already up at that time.
I could be at work. No,
yeah.
At my age, I like the idea of the slow roll towards exercise. I do my best to keep where I'm at, though.
I think Rial Andrews needs to now figure out a way to get the two seasoned folks out there and what to do with with
I
us.
don't know about that. Don't tempt him.
Don't give him any ideas. He'll run with that.
We are going to have him on the show eventually
Yes, we
because
are.
he is
Yes, we
also
are.
an actor and all that other good stuff. So all the other non things that make you threaten. Oh man, I need to work the pecs out a little before I bring it in here type stuff. So Wendy, a lot of fun. Of course, don't forget eyeonsantaclarita.com. You can check out all the stuff, and they're really awesomely produced segments. And we're
Thank you.
happy to have you here at KHTS.
Absolutely.
This is the Friday Matinee.
Yes, that's what it is, George.
On your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. We'll be back after this.